Before you lie down tonight, pause at the side of the bed for 1 second. That 1 second might be the difference between your heart resting tonight or working overtime while you sleep. Not because bedtime is dangerous, because the very last thing you do before sleep may decide whether your heart gets to rest or whether you accidentally hand it extra work for the first part of the night. And the habit I'm talking about does not look unhealthy. It looks responsible. It may be you standing at the sink, taking your evening pills, swallowing a large glass of water because you were told hydration is good, then getting into bed and lying completely flat. That is why so many seniors miss it. The danger is not the water. The danger is the timing, the amount, and what happens when your older body goes flat right after it. And once you see how those three things stack on top of each other, you will never look at your nightstand glass the same way again. My name is Dr. William, and here on Senior Health Sessions, I want to explain this in plain English, because this is one of those small aging body lessons that can change the way you think about bedtime forever. The 30-second habit is this: drinking a large amount of fluid right before bed, then immediately lying flat. For some older adults, that combination can matter much more after 50, 60, and 70 than it did when you were younger. Not because your body is broken, because your body has changed. Your blood vessels may not stretch as easily. Your heart may not relax as softly between beats. Your kidneys may not clear extra fluid as quickly at night. And your sleep may already be affected by blood pressure, breathing, medications, or swelling in the legs. So when you add a large drink at the very end of the night, then drop flat, your heart may be asked to handle extra volume at the exact moment it is trying to slow down. That is the promise of this video. I'm going to show you what this habit does inside the body, who needs to pay the closest attention, which nighttime signs should not be brushed off, and what you can do tonight without turning your bedtime into a medical project. And near the end, I will give you one simple rule that is easy to remember when you are tired. Do not give your heart extra work at the moment it is trying to rest. Now think about your own routine. Do you drink most of your water during the day, or do you suddenly remember it right before bed? Do you take pills at night and use a big glass to get them down? Do you lie flat right away because that is how you have slept for years? None of that means you are careless. Most people do this because they are trying to be responsible. That is exactly why the habit hides so well. And it hides so well that it took a man named Harold 2 years of restless nights before he noticed the pattern at all. Let me give you a simple picture. Imagine a man named Harold. He is in his late 60s. He eats fairly well. He checks his blood pressure every now and then. He walks around the block when his knees allow it. He is not ignoring his health. Every night, Harold has the same little routine. He turns off the television. He checks the back door. He takes his evening pills. Then he fills a tall glass because somewhere along the way, he heard that water keeps the blood moving well. He drinks it quickly. Then he climbs into bed and lies flat on his back. That is it. Nothing strange, nothing dramatic, nothing that would make his family stop him and say, "That looks dangerous." But a couple of hours later, Harold sometimes wakes with his heart beating harder than expected. Not always pain, not always panic, just a heavy, uncomfortable awareness of his heartbeat. Some nights he feels better after sitting on the side of the bed. Some mornings his blood pressure looks higher than it did in the afternoon. He blames stress. He blames age. He blames a bad pillow. And maybe some of that plays a part. But one clue keeps repeating. He feels worse lying flat and better sitting up. That detail matters because your body is not the same when you are upright as it is when you are horizontal. When you are standing or sitting, gravity keeps more fluid down in the lower part of your body, your legs, your belly, your lower circulation. But when you lie flat, some of that fluid shifts back toward your chest. That is normal. Your body is built to handle it. But now add the tall drink right before bed. Here is where it stops being harmless. That fluid does not disappear just because you fall asleep. Your stomach and intestines absorb it. Your blood volume can rise. Your kidneys have to decide what to keep and what to remove. Your heart has to move what is in circulation. For a younger body with springy blood vessels and a strong, flexible heart, this may pass quietly. But in an older body, especially one with high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney problems, swollen ankles, sleep apnea, or a fluid limit from a doctor, that little bedtime choice can feel like putting a heavy bag on your heart after it has already changed into its pajamas. It was getting ready for rest. You handed it a job. That is the mechanism, not a mystery, not a scare tactic, just body mechanics. At night, your heart and circulation are supposed to move into a calmer mode. Your pulse often settles. Your pressure often eases. Your body uses sleep as recovery time. But three things can interrupt that calmer mode. The first is amount. A few sips are very different from a full glass or bottle taken quickly. The second is position. Sitting upright and lying flat create different pressure and fluid patterns in your chest. The third is vulnerability. A healthy, flexible system handles change better than a system already dealing with stiff arteries, weaker pumping, kidney strain, poor sleep breathing, or blood pressure that runs high at night. That is why two people can do the same thing and have very different nights. One person drinks late and feels nothing. Another person drinks late, lies flat, wakes breathless, and has no idea why. And the only thing separating them is a body that quietly stopped bending the way it used to. So let me say this clearly. You do not need to fear water. You do not need to go to bed thirsty. And you should not punish yourself by avoiding fluids all evening if your body needs them. The better question is, are you loading your system at the last second? That is the habit, not hydration. Last second loading. Have you ever woken up with your heart pounding after lying down for a while? Have you ever noticed that sitting up makes your breathing feel easier? Have you ever checked your blood pressure in the morning and wondered why it looks worse than it did later in the day? Those are clues worth paying attention to. They do not prove one single cause. The body is more complicated than that. Nighttime symptoms can come from the heart, lungs, reflux, anxiety, sleep apnea, medication effects, or other conditions. But they are still clues, and clues are how you protect yourself early. So who should be listening the closest right now? Now, who should pay the closest attention to this habit? First, if you have high blood pressure, especially readings that are higher in the morning. Second, if you have swelling around the ankles or lower legs by evening. Third, if you get more short of breath when lying flat. Fourth, if you have kidney problems, heart failure, diabetes, or sleep apnea. Fifth, if you take water pills, blood pressure medicines, or medicines that make your mouth dry. And sixth, if you wake up often at night feeling thirsty, heavy, breathless, flushed, or unusually aware of your heartbeat. That does not mean you should diagnose yourself. It means your bedtime pattern deserves a closer look, and the closer you look, the more you start seeing yourself in one of two neighbors of mine. Here is another example. Maybe you are like Linda. Linda does not drink much during the day. She gets busy. She does not like stopping for the bathroom. By evening, her mouth is dry. Then at bedtime, she tries to catch up. She takes several pills, uses a big drink to swallow them, and tells herself, "At least I'm getting my water in." The intention is good. The timing is the problem. Her body would likely handle that fluid better earlier, while she is still upright, moving, and awake. But when she saves it all for the last moment, she turns hydration into a sudden job for the heart and kidneys. Or maybe you are like George. George has puffy ankles by dinner. He loosens his socks because the elastic leaves marks. At night, he lies flat and sometimes feels pressure in his chest or needs extra pillows. He thinks, "I'm just getting older." But when a person holds fluid in the legs during the day, lying flat can bring some of that fluid back toward the chest. If that person also drinks a lot right before bed, the nighttime load can become even harder to handle. That is not something to ignore, and it is not something to fix by guessing. It is something to discuss. Here is the one caution I want you to keep. If you have heart failure, kidney disease, a doctor-given fluid limit, chest pain, fainting, sudden swelling, or severe shortness of breath, do not experiment on your own. Follow your clinician's advice and get urgent help for severe symptoms. For everyone else, the safer habit is usually simple. Move the larger fluids earlier. Sip late instead of gulping. Give your body a short pause before lying flat. And pay attention to what your nights are telling you, because once you know what to watch for, the fix itself is almost embarrassingly small. Let us make that practical. The first change is to stop saving your hydration for the very end of the day. If you know you often drink a lot right before bed, shift that habit earlier in the evening. Not perfectly, not obsessively, just earlier. You can still keep water nearby. You can still take sips if your mouth is dry. You can still drink when you are truly thirsty, but avoid making bedtime the moment when you suddenly pour in most of what you forgot during the day. Ask yourself tonight, am I drinking because I am actually thirsty, or because this became a routine? That question alone can change the habit. But timing your fluids is only half the fix, but how you actually lie down matters just as much. The second change is to treat lying down as a transition, not a drop. Many seniors go from standing to bed to flat in one quick motion. Try slowing that down. Sit on the edge of the bed for a short moment. Let your breathing settle. Notice whether you feel lightheaded, breathless, or unusually aware of your heartbeat. Then lie down more gradually. If you already know you breathe better slightly raised, talk with your doctor about whether upper body elevation is appropriate for you. For some people, especially those with reflux, breathing trouble, or heart-related fluid issues, being a little raised can help. But it needs to be done in a way that supports the chest and upper back, not just bends the neck. The third change is to separate dry mouth from true dehydration. This is important. Many older adults wake up with a dry mouth and assume they need a lot more water at bedtime. But dry mouth can come from mouth breathing, certain medications, a stuffy nose, diabetes, sleep apnea, or simply sleeping with the mouth open. So if your mouth is dry, a few sips may help. But if you are waking every night desperate for water, or your mouth is painfully dry, that is not just a water habit. That is information. Mention it. Do you wake up thirsty during the night? Or do you drink late because you are trying to prevent thirst before it happens? There is a difference, and that difference shows up clearest not in how you feel, but in what the numbers say. The fourth change is to check the pattern, not just the feeling. A lot of seniors know their blood pressure number from the doctor's office, but that number may not tell the whole story. Your body at home, at night, in your own routine, may behave differently. So if you already have a home blood pressure monitor, consider asking your clinician whether it makes sense to track 2 moments for a short period, before bed and after waking, before coffee and before rushing around. You're not doing this to scare yourself. You're looking for a pattern. If your morning readings are often higher than expected, or if bedtime and morning numbers look very different from what you see in the afternoon, that is useful information for a medical visit, not a diagnosis. Information. And good information can make a short appointment much more useful. The fifth change is to bring better questions to your doctor. Not vague questions like, is my heart okay? Better questions. Could my nighttime blood pressure be different from my daytime readings? Should we review the timing of my medications? Could my dry mouth or nighttime thirst be related to a medicine? Does my swelling mean I am holding fluid? Could sleep apnea be affecting my heart at night? Is it safe for me to adjust how much I drink in the evening? These questions are powerful because they aim at the hidden part of the day, the hours nobody sees, the hours when you are not sitting in a clinic chair, the hours when your body is alone with your routine. And that is exactly the part most people get wrong next. Now let us clear up the misunderstanding that can make people do the wrong thing. Some people hear this and think, so I should stop drinking water after dinner. No, that is not the message. Going to bed dry, thirsty, and underhydrated can create its own problems. It can make you feel weak. It can worsen constipation. It can make some people dizzy. It can make the mouth and throat uncomfortable. And for some people, poor hydration can affect how they feel the next morning. The goal is not to dry yourself out. The goal is to stop surprising your heart at the last minute. Think of your heart at night like a pump that is switched to a quieter setting. The house is dark. The demand is lower. Everything is supposed to run smoothly and gently. Then suddenly, right before that quiet period, you ask the pump to handle extra volume while the pipes are older and less flexible than they used to be. That does not mean the pump fails. It means you made the job harder. And if that pump is already under strain, harder matters. So here is the simple bedtime rule. Drink earlier like a steady habit. Sip later like a comfort. Do not chug late like a rescue mission. That one line can help a lot of people. But knowing the rule is nothing without knowing what your body is trying to tell you when you break it. Now, let us talk about warning signs, because this is where many people either panic too much or ignore too much. Occasional thirst is common. Getting up to use the bathroom sometimes is common. Feeling a little dry in the mouth can be common. But certain patterns deserve attention. Waking up gasping for air, feeling chest pressure, needing to sit upright to breathe, fainting or nearly fainting, a racing or irregular heartbeat that feels new or frightening, sudden swelling in the legs, ankles, belly, or face, morning headaches with high blood pressure readings. These are not symptoms to explain away with, "I am just old." Aging changes the body. It should not make you dismiss the body. If your body keeps sending the same signal at night, listen to it. And please hear the tone of this clearly. This is not about making seniors afraid of bedtime. It is the opposite. It is about making bedtime feel safer because you understand it. There is a big difference between fear and awareness. Fear says, something bad could happen and I am helpless. Awareness says, now I see the pattern and I know what to adjust. That is what I want for you. Because most healthy aging is not built from one dramatic decision. It is built from small patterns you repeat every day. How you stand up, how you breathe, how you sleep, how you hydrate, how you respond when your body gives you a clue. So tonight, before bed, do a quiet check. Did I drink enough earlier, or am I trying to catch up now? Am I about to swallow a large amount just because it is there? Do I feel better flat, or do I feel better slightly raised? Have I been waking with pounding, breathlessness, or unusual morning pressure? Is this something I should write down and mention? That is not overthinking. That is caring for the body you live in. And if you are watching this for a spouse, parent, brother, sister, or neighbor, think about their routine too. Are they the person who forgets water all day and drinks a large glass at the very end? Are they the person who sleeps flat, even though they breathe better sitting in a chair? Are they the person who wakes up tired and says, I do not know why my nights feel so hard? A small conversation may help them notice something they have missed for years. Now let us bring the whole idea home. The 30-second bedtime habit is not simply drinking water. It is drinking a large amount at the very end of the night, then lying flat right away, especially in a body that may already be dealing with blood pressure, fluid, breathing, kidney, or heart strain. The safer path is not complicated. Move the bigger drinks earlier. Keep late fluids small and intentional. Let your body settle before lying flat. Notice whether sitting up changes your breathing or heartbeat. Track patterns if your clinician recommends it, and bring the right questions to your next visit. You are not fragile because this matters. You are wise because you are paying attention. The body changes with age, but it also gives clues. And when you understand those clues, you can make calmer, smarter choices. So tonight, remember the rule. Do not hand your heart a last-minute load when it is preparing to rest. If this helped you see your bedtime routine differently, tell me in the comments. Do you usually drink water right before bed or earlier in the evening? And if someone you love is over 60 and has a habit of drinking late, lying flat, waking breathless, or ignoring morning blood pressure changes, share this with them. This is Dr. William with Senior Health Sessions. Take care of your heart before sleep, and let your night be a time of recovery, not extra work.